3D game engines have two different modes for cameras, perspective mode and orthographic mode. Perspective mode is what we normally expect from a camera. Stuff further away is smaller than stuff closer because this is obviously how we see things in real life. In orthographic mode, however, everything stays the same size regardless of the distance from the camera. Parallel lines stay parallel and there's no foreshortening. Orthographic cameras are mainly used for 2D games because obviously there's no depth in a 2D scene, but anything you see referred to as isometric is also using an orthographic camera. There's a lot of weird little issues with perspective in 2D games. If we look at Mario Wonder, we get probably the most obvious example of this, where we see that Mario is not looking in the direction that he's running. His whole body and head are kind of weirdly twisted towards the camera a little bit. Examples like this are everywhere, not just in video games. A lot of 3D animation, especially in film, is designed to look good from one specific angle. And when we have the camera locked like this, we get to take advantage of that by making things that would otherwise look really weird look really good instead. If we bring this into the fully 2D realm, we can look at Celeste and see the same thing. The characters' bodies are not facing the direction they're moving, they're weirdly twisted towards the camera so that we can see and appreciate their designs. So that's the whole thing with side-scrollers, but what about top-down 2D games? Stardew Valley, Enter the Gungeon, Faith. All these games have to deal with perspective issues because they're at a sort of 3/4 top-down view rather than actually literally being top-down. The approach all these games take with perspective is to kind of just completely ignore it. Which is interesting because it does kind of look weird. We can see the player from a head-on view, but we can also see the tops of other things, and we just completely ignore it because that's what we've come to expect from these kinds of games because they've been doing this since like the first Zelda game. So through that exposure, we just filter it out. An actual problem that these games do have to do something about though is layers, because that is something that your brain obviously can't just filter out. If you're in front of something, you need to obviously be rendered in front of it, and if you're behind it, you need to be rendered behind it. This is solved with something called Y-sorting, which is a very simple technique which, as the name suggests, sorts objects based on their Y value. If you're higher than something, you render behind it. If you're below something, you render in front of it. This is enough to give the illusion of perspective without needing to mess around with manually foreshortening things in your art. I mentioned this in another video, which you should totally watch by the way, but a lot of game development is the art of just faking things in the most efficient way possible.
One of the most important things to know about game development is that everything's fake, right? It's all just a bunch of math that puts colors on your computer screen and tricks your brain into seeing exactly what the developer wants.
And this is just another way that comes into play. In terms of games that are actually literally top-down, we have stuff like Hotline Miami and Darkwood, in which we see the tops of the players' heads. And with this, it's a lot easier to ignore perspective warp, since we aren't seeing a lot of depth or background, so only things on the edge of the screen would theoretically need to be foreshortened, but again, our brains can filter that out because we know we're looking at a 2D game. Hades and Signalis are two very interesting games when it comes to this topic, because they both look like they're mixing 2D with 3D, but neither of them actually are. Signalis' art is so good and pixel consistent that it looks like you're playing as a 3D character moving around flat textured planes and 2D assets mixed in, but in reality everything is fully 3D modeled. Part of the reason it looks like this is because of the previously mentioned orthographic camera, which removes any perspective warping, and the other part probably has something to do with the resolution at which... God, you can tell when I go off script. I had to add another sentence here because I realized there was no sentence going from this one into my next point. But anyways, the other part of it, I guess, has something to do with its rendering at a lower resolution, so you can see all the pixels more crisply. Anyways, going on to Hades. Hades is kind of the same, kind of completely the opposite, and also slightly more of a technicality. The game is completely 2D. There's no 3D rendering involved in it at all, but the characters look 3D. This is because technically there are 3D models of all of these characters, but instead of putting those into the game, they've pre-rendered them and turned all of their animations into 2D sprite frames, which is really impressive because, again, it looks like they're actually 3D characters running around in a 2D environment. It's so convincing that if this information wasn't coming straight from the devs, I really wouldn't believe it. So what games actually mix 3D and 2D, and how do they do that well? There aren't a lot of proper examples I can find. The only really good one was Paper Mario: The Origami King, which I haven't played, but it looks really cool. Bloons TD6 has mostly flat, plain maps in which 2D balloons move across, but they have 3D assets over them and a top-down camera angle, which makes looking at the maps from anything other than that specific camera angle look really weird. There's also an indie game called Pumpkin Panic, which is mostly flat 3D assets like cubes and planes with textures and 2D sprites rendered in 3D. If you know of any examples of games that mix 3D and 2D graphics really well, let me know about it in the comments. So that's all I have for this video. Sorry about the long wait since the last one. As some of you may know, I'm in college and finals are kicking my ass, but Now that it's summer, I'll try to get a video out every week, with at least one of those per month being a devlog for whatever video game stuff I'm working on. So, thank you for watching. As usual, like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and stay tuned for next week.